It's Wrestling Observer Live, and we're live 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, and Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's Jim Valley.
Oh, that's the most exciting type of valley.
Super easy, barely an inconvenience. The effing king of recovery.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but toot.
Back because of the fans.
Each and every one of you.
The largest collection of STD having trailer park trash The Rock has ever seen.
You all fat, neck-bearded, mouth-breathing trolls.
They don't have adrenaline in their soul. All you do is be hurtful. All you are is abusive. And all you've ever done is bully me into being your damn puppet and expected me to do it with a smile on my face.
Tonight, 8 p.m., the Juan de la Barrera Olympic Gymnasium, Mexico City. Alberto El Patron defends his AAA Mega Championship against El Hijo de Vikingo. Anybody want to take any bets? My money's on Vikingo. Don't ask me why. Just watching Raw, had a hunch. We have new Money in the Bank qualifiers. The main event also set for Money in the Bank as well. And good news, it doesn't have Travis Scott. AEW Collision tonight on TNT after the NBA. Mariah May's arrival in WWE seems to be imminent, but how will the fans react to her? Vince McMahon will never leave, and John Laurinaitis flips again. Let's flip again, like we did last winter. Yeah, let's flip again, like we did last year. Also, is AEW back? Dude, it never left. If you're watching the show, watching AEW, you know it's better, but it never left. We'll talk about that and more. Stand by, Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Hey, everybody. No kidding. It's always because of the fans. Always because of the fans. By the way, I got my shirt. Hanker for a hunk of cheese. It's time for Timer. Happy Saturday, everybody. Good to see everybody here. You thought Smackdown was trash? I thought it was okay. It's fine. Smackdown was trash. Fascinating. What didn't you like about it? A slab a slice of chunk of. I hanker for a hunk of cheese. When my get up and go is got up and went. Yeah, I thought Logan was fine. Hola. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I was going to talk about that. I have a theory on why there seems to be more mistakes seen on WWE TV these days than seemingly ever before. But it's just a theory. I don't know. Anyway. That was it, Miss. Oh, you're going to hear some theories today. Jade has had a lot of time.
Negro Leagues, the challenges that the
She's not
players
getting
face,
better.
and the importance of Negro League baseball to the game's history. Behind the Barrier is available now on the iHeart Podcast Network and all podcast platforms, including Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher, and Pandora. Check out Behind the Barrier.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. You got to forgive me. A little pissed off today. There was talk at Smackdown. It's going to 2 hours in June, which is tomorrow. And then they rug pulled me. They've announced right at the end of May, days away from June. They get my hopes up, and now it's announced SmackDown is staying 3 hours. Bastards. It's not, I dislike SmackDown. The talent is great. It's just 3 hours. It's so long, and they just drag things out. The things I do for you. So they open up a show with a recap of Cody and Cena from Saturday night's main event. They will be face to face tonight. Yeah, someone says SmackDown is longer than a Titanic movie. Yes. And in the end, I want to drop off the end of the door. Let it be done. All right. Bianca Belair comes home to Knoxville, all dressed up in volunteer orange. Bianca starts the show. She hugs her parents. Very sweet. Mother's in a wheelchair, but her mom stood up to hug her daughter. It was very, very sweet. And the crowd sang the famous song, Rocky Top, Tennessee, woo, which actually was written 30 miles south at the Gatlinburg Inn in Gatlinburg, not in Knoxville. Don't ask me how I know that. Why? Why do I know that? Anyway, Bianca's doing everything she can to get healthy. Naomi's music hits. She's so happy Bianca is on SmackDown. And Naomi begs Bianca for forgiveness. She even went by Bianca's house and let herself in while nobody was home. Who believes that? Bianca wasn't having it. Naomi broke her trust. And Naomi said it wouldn't be good for Bianca and her, or it wouldn't be good for Bianca and her mother to both be in wheelchairs. Naomi would hate for something to happen to Bianca tonight. Dun, dun, dun. Jade's music hits. Jade levels Naomi. Jade and Bianca stare at each other. Then Nia Jax slowly walks to the ring. It's a Money in the Bank qualifier. Nia versus Jade versus Naomi. This was very slow and not that great. But it picked up toward the end like, all wrestling matches do. It's sort of the format of all wrestling matches. And once it picked up a little bit, the crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Cue Ron Howard. It was not awesome. The WWE crowds need to stop with just the random "this is awesome" chants for every match. Anyway, the two heels worked together on Jade until Naomi went for a pinfall. Then Naomi and Nia started to get into it. Two heels fighting like that never happens in a three-way. Jade makes a comeback on both women, hits Jaded on Naomi. Nia breaks up the pin. Nia with a super Samoan drop off the second rope. Jade jumped off onto Nia and Naomi, didn't get the pin. Again, this is awesome. That was a very generous. This is awesome, Jade. Nia stacks up both women in the corner. She hits the Annihilator on Jade, missed Naomi. Naomi crucifix pin on Nia, and Naomi is going to Money in the Bank. So I have a theory on why we seem to be seeing a lot more, I don't want to call them botches, but just some sloppy work on SmackDown in particular. And maybe it has to do with the new producer, Lee Fitting. I know Kevin Dunn, made cuts every 2.5 seconds, it feels like. But maybe, and I'm not saying one is good, one is worse, but maybe that's the reason that we're seeing some sloppier work, is because Lee is not used to trying to cut away and miss some of these mistakes. He's not familiar enough with the product and the moves and different wrestlers and their little foibles, their little, things that they do. So maybe with time, this will go away, but we shall see. Backstage, Solo, Jacob, and JC come across R-Truth. And R-Truth thinks JC is Solo's husky son. And Truth wants to take his husky son to the ring. Backstage, Chelsea Green holding up a paper Chelsea mask in front of her face. She is wearing a rainbow-colored protective mask. Nick will not clear Chelsea tonight, but he does make Alba Fire versus Zelina Vega for later. It's always later. Byron interviews Tiffany Stratton. Naomi walks up. She's going to cash in on Tiffy. Then Alexa Bliss. Don't be worried about Naomi, she says. Be worried about Alexa. Then they promote Worlds Collide. Ethan Page defends the North American title. Fatal 4-way with Javon Evans, Ray Phoenix, Laredo Kid. So tonight, it's going to be Ray Phoenix and Javon Evans versus Los Garza. R-Truth comes... Excuse me. R-Truth comes to the ring. What's up? The whole song. I don't think I've ever heard him. I mean, this thing went on for a long time. Going commercial saying, what's up? So the match is Truth versus JC Mateo. JC manhandled Truth in the beginning. R-Truth got a couple of those flying Cena shoulder blocks. Then the 5-knuckle shuffle, but he couldn't lift JC up for the AAA, or for the AA. Tour of the Islands, it's over. JC pins R-Truth. Solo and JC attack Truth to Little Jimmy. Well, not Little Jimmy. Actually, Big Jimmy. Jimmy Uso comes out with a chair in hand. JC attacks Jimmy from behind. But Solo isn't happy because he wants Jimmy back in the family, as you know. Street Profits walk to the ring. Clip of Cody's podcast with Brandy Rhodes. Ford is wearing volunteer orange. Dawkins is wearing the Rock turtleneck with the gold chain and a jacket. They'll defend the titles against anybody. Fraxium comes out. Then the Motor City Machine Guns. Then DIY with Candace. Everybody wants the tag team titles. Ciampa asks for a moment of silence for the tag team division because they built it and everybody else has killed it. Lights go out. It's the Wyatt Six again. And again, they take everybody out. Ethan Page comes out, sits ringside at the commentary desk for Javon Evans and Phoenix against Los Garza. Evans and Berto both use the ropes extensively. Obviously they're getting Javon over. It was kind of a showcase for him as far as his bouncy gimmick. But I'll tell you what, Los Garza were right there with him every time. But, Javon's the new shiny toy. Anyway, we'll talk about the match, plus the end of the show, and much more. Stand by. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. All right, Matt, thank you. Do I think Uncle Dave keeps it natural or shaved? Well, he does have a girlfriend these days, so that's what I will say. Hang on, what's this one? I told you last Saturday, Alberto Del Rio. What's the altercation reality show in Mexico? Oh, yeah, I guess you shouldn't have been mean to Triple H, but I don't know. I don't know who knows? A lot of times Triple H has taken, look at CM Punk. Obviously, Alberto is not CM Punk, but, Paul Levesque has, in the past, let bygones be bygones, just sort of like Vince did many times, for business. But I don't know if Alberto El Patron is quite at that level. I guess we'll find out. You think so? Groomed into stars. Yeah, but I think Macho Man's trunks only had like 3 or 4 stars. So they need to be 5 stars. Oh, heavens. What do I care? Ah, hell. All right. Oh, heavens. That's, Street Profits. That's a great question. Let me do that when we come back. Thank you for reminding me, Allison. I appreciate that. By the way, you're not required to do anything, but if you want to share the show and, tell people you enjoy the show, it might help me. I need to probably get some numbers up, so it would be helpful. But don't feel required to do that. That's a good question. You know what I've been playing again? I've been playing Wind Waker on my I got a little illegal Chinese handheld on an Embernick, so I've been playing Wind Waker on the handheld. I think next I might play 007 Nightfire.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. I mentioned the Street Profits. Last segment, someone's asking in the chat, will we ever see a Street Profits break up? And I was looking through Reddit because, I've watched wrestling forever and I'm jaded. So I would like to see what other people who, haven't watched wrestling as long have to say to maybe kind of give me a fresh perspective. Look at things with fresh eyes. And someone on Reddit, I think in Squared Circle, was wondering, it's like, why was the crowd so quiet for the Street Profits? And to answer your question, Allison, will we see a Street Profits breakup? I think the reason that the crowd is quiet for the Street Profits, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan, Montez Ford was amazing. And, a couple of years ago, I was looking forward to his singles push when he was in Elimination Chamber. And I'll tell you what, Angelo Dawkins has leaned up. He looks good, cuts good promos. They're both great. But, they have been jerked around so much, starting and stopping and winning and losing. And, they've been around for years and years and years. And I think fans have just accepted the fact that they're slotted and it is what it is. And there's no reason to emotionally invest in the Street Profits. And that sucks because they are great. I would love to see them do more things, but it is what it is. Anyway, back to Phoenix and Javon Evans against Los Garza. This match got an awesome chant. And look, there was a lot of high-flying maneuvers. Los Garza are so underrated and so great. Phoenix, a little sloppy here, but it is what it is. But it's so funny because whenever we see these high-flying matches in WWE, this is awesome. When it's AEW, it's that flippy stuff. Anyway, Ethan Page was at ringside. He didn't say a lot on commentary, which I thought was odd. But anyway, he stood up, threw Phoenix over the announce table. Then Santos Escobar, who was outside, distracted the ref. Then Page pushed Javon Evans off the top rope. Pin and a win by Los Garza. Quick video with Uncle Howdy. He says they won't stop, not until we get what's owed. Zelina Vega versus Alba Fire. Chelsea and Piper Niven kept interfering. Chelsea tried to hit Vega with her mask, but hit Piper instead. Zelina hits the code red on Alba Fire for the pin. Backstage, Miz tells Carmelo to follow the plan. No mistakes this time. He doesn't want to take another black mass. And Miz says, if you follow the plan, we will be Mr. Money in the Bank. And he says, what do you mean we? He appreciates the Miz, but it's his talent, Melo's talent, that brought Hayes to the dance. Miz seems a little annoyed. Damian Priest coming to the ring. Then a video on Julia. She kind of talks and they put words underneath her so you can follow along. Closed captioning. I mean, her accent is, you can understand her, but it's still very heavy. But her goal is to be indisputable. She only views it as an opportunity to build her legacy. Who's going to stop me? And if you can stop it, stop it. I guess that's her catchphrase. I don't know. Backstage, Julia then sees Zelina and she goes, I see you, but I see that title more. Damian Priest got a black eye. He's in the ring, says Drew's ass is in the past, but he still can't stand him. But at Saturday night's main event, it was the old Drew in the ring, the Warrior. Priest's goal now are championships. And he's got an eye on the most badass champion in WWE right now. That's Jacob Fatu. He respects Jacob. He's proud of him, for real, he says. But he doesn't respect Jacob's crew. And then Damian and Jacob stare at each other as they pass each other the entranceway as Jacob's going out for his match and Drew's leaving after his promo. Money in the Bank qualifier. Jacob versus Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. Miz grabbed Fatu's foot before he could dive onto Melo and Andrade. Fatu attacks Miz outside of the ring. Hip attack on the barrier. Back from commercial. Andrade pulled Fatu down from a moonsault. Andrade hit the double moonsault, but Melo broke up the pin. Crowd, this is awesome. Again. Seemed a little premature, but okay. Fatu goes to the breakaway barrier again. It pretty much seems like he does that every week. Back from commercial, Fatu hits a swanton on Melo. Andrade breaks up the pin. Crowd is chanting, "We want tables." They did not. They did not get tables. JC and Solo come out to ringside. Fatu held Andrade and Melo up for a Samoan drop. Both men on his shoulders, but Melo fell off. He lays out Fatu. Andrade and Melo fought over pinfalls. Fatu hit an impaler, DDT, and a moonsault on Andrade. Solo stood up on the ring, distracted the ref, which was weird because Fatu was close to winning. So obviously, Solo is messing with Jacob. Anyway, he told Fatu to do it again. Jimmy Uso appears, super kicks Fatu at ringside. Andrade hits the message on Melo for the pin, and Andrade going to Money in the Bank. Fatu mad at JC. Byron interviews LA Knight, promotes Money in the Bank. He's been in 3 of them. He's the vet in this match. Aleister Black walks in, says that win was partially Black's. He says, "You're welcome." So maybe Aleister Black's going to cost LA Knight the Money in the Bank. Backstage, Fatu is throwing furniture. I believe he said GD. There's a lot of potty mouths on this show. Anyway, Solo tells him he was just trying to help. Fatu says, "For the last time, I don't need your help." Run down to Money in the Bank. Worlds collide. Cody's in the ring. Knoxville does the Cody Rhodes chant. Cody drowned his sorrows after WrestleMania 41. And believe me, Cody, after that main event, we all did. Cody asked a friend, he said, "Was I a good champion?" Then he ran down his defenses, like against AJ and Kevin Owens and Rock. And Cody says if Cena ruins pro wrestling, then Cody is partially to blame. Cody says he will never make the mistake and hesitate with John Cena again. Then Cody introduces his partner at Money in the Bank, Jey Uso. Another long-ass entrance as we go to commercial. Now this was weird. Uso was up on the turnbuckles, and Wade Barrett dropped an S-bomb, saying something about, "Look at that stuff behind us," or something. I don't know what happened there, but like I said, lots of potty mouths. My ears are not garbage cans. Cena comes out, calls Cody and Jay the biggest John Cena wannabes. Makes Cena sick. Calls Cody too desperate and Jay too lazy. There's only one person who embodies hustle, loyalty, and respect in WWE. It's Logan Paul. They're calling him the Maverick. Thankfully, it's not Travis Scott. Cena says Logan Paul does WWE better than any other professional wrestler. Everyone didn't come to see Cody and Jay. No. They came to see John Cena, Logan Paul. Logan uses the ancient line. "I could walk on water." Fans would say it's because he can't swim. Oh my goodness. That line is about as old as Moses. Crowd told Logan Paul to shut the F up. Again, what is up with this potty mouth stuff? Logan said Jay needed Cody to help him at Saturday night's main event because you two Nepo babies were born on third thinking you hit a triple. Jay says we don't have to wait for Money in the Bank. Cena wants to leave, but Paul wants to fight. And they have sort of a brief but tense stare down. Then Cody says, "Are you going to go in the back and polish his peacemaker?" Some people were offended by that line. It's up to you. So instead of the 1D, it's now called the Cody, as Jay held Logan and Cody hit the Cody cutter, but it's sort of like a 1D. Heels bail outside. Cody and Jay stand tall in the ring to end the show. Coming up, AEW Collision, little spoiler-free preview. Mariah May, Vince, John Laurinaitis, and more. Stand by. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
Gonna get my love.
You're clear.
All right. Anything exciting? All right.
Who? Oh, Jim? Pedro says hi.
To learn about the one asset that could help ensure your nest egg doesn't crack under economic pressure. GOLD. Gold. Call the one name any conservative investor needs to know about. Reagan Gold Group.
800-360-1917. 800-360-1917. 800-360-1917. That's 800-360-1917.
If you've got a property that you've been trying to sell and you've tried almost everything, I want to tell you about something that you haven't tried yet. You're going to think this offer is too good to be true, but it's not. Thousands of customers have sold their homes in any condition with Need to Sell My Home. This is a real opportunity from a highly rated company that buys homes all over the country. Did you know it's possible to sell your home right over the phone with no real estate commissions and no pesky open houses? Plus, every offer is a cash offer with no mortgage holdups. To find out how much you can sell your home or property for, call now. Take 5 minutes of your time and call for this 100% free quote to sell your home.
800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. That's 800-430-0674.
1 out of 2 Americans thinks their life is worthy of a book. Here's another startling stat. You may be one of the 15% of people who bothered to start your book and one of the 6% that got halfway through it, but your gem of an idea likely died. Or did it? Some published authors are making significant money, so join the ranks of the successful people that finished their books with help from Dorrance Publishing. Call right now, and our experienced editors and writers will explain to you what it's going to take to get your book completely written, published, and then taken to market to sell it. It's a free consultation, so call right now. Find out how much time and money it takes to finally get that book idea of yours published. Make your dreams happen. Call Dorrance Publishing right now.
800.
You're not on the
Like right now, I have a
800-485-6003. 800-485.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm just kind of monitoring things.
You're not on the air right now.
Okay.
003.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Jim Valley. It's Wrestling Observer Live. AEW Collision is back on Saturdays. It was taped on Wednesday, and it's going to start tonight immediately following Game 6 of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and the Knicks, and again on TNT. No spoilers. I have not seen this week's show. That's another story. Anyway, Continental Champion Okada versus Anthony Bowens in the Eliminator match. Should be very good. 4-way International Championship qualifying match. Claudio versus Commander. 4-way International Championship for a qualifying match to get in that 4-way. Mascara Dorada versus Hechicero. We'll hear from FTR. Don Callis family versus Paragon and Ishii. Sky Blue versus Mina Shirakawa. And LFI versus Top Flight, AR Fox, and the Gates of Agony will also be in action. Bear Bronson leaving AEW. His contract was not renewed. Free agent starting on Sunday, June 1st. He was part of the Iron Savages, as you probably know. And Bronson was kind of in limbo after his partner, Bear Boulder, was fired following his arrest on assault charges. And as you also know, Mariah May is off the AEW website and is apparently WWE bound. And I've said this for years. I think Mariah May is a more marketable talent than Tiffany Stratton. Not that Tiffany isn't great, no disrespect, but I think Mariah is a more experienced wrestler. I think she's a better promo. I just think all around she's a better performer. And I think, she's every bit as attractive. They're both very pretty young women. But one thing that surprises me is, my first thought was, okay, Mariah and Tiffany. Obviously, they have had, kind of parallels. They're both pretty blondes. They both have sort of the Barbie thing going on, sex appeal, athletic wrestling. There's a lot of similarities. And one of the things I've been wondering is, Tiffany is over like Rover. And it's weird because she's a heel. Well, no, I mean, she's a babyface. But she acts like a heel. But she is over. Crowd loves her. And is Mariah May going to be seen as an imitator? Or is Mariah May going to be seen as the shiny new toy? As far as fans go. And superior to Tiffany Stratton. Will she be new and Tiffany be old? Or is Tiffany so entrenched right now that Mariah May can't break that hold she has on fans? I just figured if Tiffany's on Smackdown, put Mariah May on Raw. However, there's a new factor that I didn't consider. Stephanie Vakir. And she's a very pretty woman. But I had no idea that young people, would be so enthralled by her looks. Sort of like Booker T. And so she has become, and look, she's a lovely woman too, but you just never know who the fans are going to gravitate towards. And they have definitely gravitated towards Stephanie Vakir. So you have these three sex symbols, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. Not to mention, even Julia. That's kind of amazing to me. How Stephanie Vakir has seemingly outshone Julia, even though Julia is the much more experienced talent. Vince McMahon has a new company, 14th and I. I'm sure you've heard about it. I'm surprised he didn't call it 69 and Me or NDAs for life. But, of course, named after where the Capitol Sports office was in Washington, D.C. at the corner of 14th and I. The other big news, it's interesting. Nobody wants anything to do with this company. Nobody signed on. And I'm just like, it's also interesting. President Trump has pardoned, what's his name, Chrisley, the Chrisleys. He's pardoned other people. But Vince is nowhere to be seen. Linda is, but Vince isn't. Just fascinating. John Laurinaitis has flipped again. You recall what happened before, but it's the former head of talent relations in WWE, John Laurinaitis, who had been a defendant in Janelle Grant's lawsuit against WWE. Vince McMahon and Laurinaitis. Well, Laurinaitis is settled out of court with Grant on the conditions of helping her in her lawsuit against McMahon and the company. Now, this is my theory. This is just a theory. As is mentioned in the suit, shortly after meeting Laurinaitis, Vince sent them up, and they were going to have a three-way. Is there a nice way to say that? I don't know. Miss Grant asked Laurinaitis if she was the first woman who McMahon had introduced him to in such a setting. According to the lawsuit, Laurinaitis failed to respond, shot a look directly at McMahon, who quickly intervened by kissing Miss Grant and initiating the sexual encounter amongst the three of them. So here's my theory. This is just a theory. Just me, only me. I believe Laurinaitis flipped, so he's done. He can't be sued or done that again. But obviously he believes it's going to court. It's not going to be dropped. The case. I think he's going to provide testimony that indeed Miss Grant was not the first woman to be introduced to such a setting. That's my theory. Because if you read the lawsuit, it says, it screams to you, Vince has done this before. This is not the first time. There is a system there. We've talked about it in the past. And I think John Laurinaitis is going to mention that. Other people have speculated. As you know, Laurinaitis was head of talent relations, then promoted back to head of talent relations during the whole Janelle Grant thing. There are some people who've speculated about that. Looking at this week's Observer, AEW Double or Nothing got almost 5 times the votes as NXT Battleground did. But Battleground got 0 thumbs down. And Double or Nothing, it got 1. Wow, what the hell? I didn't know Jim Cornette still subscribed to the Observer. One of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. 1 thumbs down. 1 in the middle, too. Then NXT had 1 thumb in the middle, Battleground. Battleground, an okay show. No thumbs down. What the hell? Defa. Anyway, I saw the Fight Game podcast. They have a headline. Is AEW back? Dude, if you've been watching, with all due respect, it never left. Now look, have things been as good? No. But it was never bad. What was bad was the PR. What was bad was the grifters of the world downvoting everything. Like I said, when Javon Evans bounces off the ropes and hits something on Los Garza, this is awesome. That stuff happens in AEW, and it's that flippy stuff. When AEW has luchadors do lucha spots. The hell is that? Traditional lucha spots. What is that? But now worlds collide. It's amazing. Penta is amazing. Phoenix is amazing. They were amazing in AEW. They've always been amazing. But these people, like anytime Penta does something incredible or athletic, people always go, oh, you can't take the AEW out of Penta. He's done that stuff all the time. And look, all the negative, that negative publicity, it worked. Yeah, it is the podcasters and the grifters spreading all of that stuff. And now it's got to the point where it's so good, they really don't have much of a leg to stand on. But look, AEW has never been that bad. And yes, I talked about the Death Riders. Now, I wish I would have started better. And they could have made it a little different, for sure. For sizzle. We talked about that, and that is true. But regardless, Mox still has done tremendous promos, carrying that on his back, regardless of the holes in the story and some of the gaps. And they've had great matches. Ospreay, great matches. The rise of Kyle Fletcher, great matches. We've seen so much great stuff. When Tony Storm has had great matches, great promos, great characters, Mercedes Moné has been killing it. The women's division has been killing it. The Hurt Syndicate, killing it. Everybody is. It's just, yeah, someone goes, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, forever. Yeah. AEW is not back. AEW never left. Watch the show. From someone who's watched all the shows. Ricochet is another great.
Pull up to the scene.
Watch the shows. They're great. You listen to everybody else. You're going to go, oh, I don't want to watch them. Stand by. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
Listen up, guys. Are you following fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-773-5112. 800-773-5112. 800-773-5112. That's 800-773-5112.
This is a true sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little friend. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. Listen, protect everyone you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. That's 800-361-3491.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. 800-913-9739. That's 800-913-9739.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Well, this is weird. It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Well, that's not weird. This is weird. Somebody on X, Twitter, posted, last night's loss was frustrating enough. I turned the show off, went straight to bed. I still don't have the exact words, but I know this. Carmelo Hayes deserves more than what he's been given over the past year. He's proven he can elevate anything he's handed. And then Ricochet, responded saying, he works for WWE. That is the prize. That is the reward. Shouldn't that be enough? He works for the biggest promotion in the world. They make the most money and get the most views. That should be enough. What does he want? More? Sounds selfish to me. So, I don't know what, I mean, it is true. I mean, for a guy of his size, I think so far Melo's doing okay. It takes time sometimes. It doesn't always happen so fast, but it feels like Carmelo Hayes, for the most part, is fairly protected. And I think they stuck him with Miz, to learn, but also to eventually feud and beat Miz. So, I mean, is he the top guy? No. But he's going to have to catch lightning in a bottle for a guy of his size to be the guy in WWE. I'm not saying it can't happen, but a lot of times the odds are a little long for that. I mean, WWE landed the Giants. WWE is what happened. Anyway, enjoy Collision. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you next week. Appreciate it. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer.
You're clear, Jim. Have a good one.
All right, man.
We'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Talk to you next week, man.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Yep, bye. All right, kids. I think I have a little time. I think I do. God, you guys got some really funny messages. That is really funny. Oh, Ricochet. Oops, hang on. We'll keep talking. That's a really good point. Alex Wright being underused. Yeah, you got a point. I think Ricochet has been great. Oh, thank you, Lewis. I appreciate it. Ricochet has been awesome. I mean, look, he is cutting so many great promos and doing so much great work. I mean, how funny was that bald spot with Mark Briscoe? How funny was that with the spray on the head? I thought that was hilarious. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I still have his picture. I'm really bummed. I mean, I don't know. I feel kind of silly sometimes being so sad about it. Because, I mean, my mother, for example, my brother passed away, almost 30 years ago. Suicide. And, my mother was never the same again. And so people who lose kids, things like that, I understand that, but it's like, Sherman's my cat, but he was also my best friend. And so I don't know, it's hard because we spent a lot of time together when I was sick. So, anyway, it's sad. I miss him so much. Just, I wish that he didn't die so soon. But anyway, okay, Ricochet. Having his own faction. Max Caster, Sky Blue, Jungle Boy, Wardlow. Sure. At some point, because the Ricochet heel character is so sneaky and slimy. He would need people to cover for him. Let me think. Out of that, would you want to turn Jungle Boy heel or Wardlow? I mean, Jungle Boy babyface and feud with Ricochet? I mean, who's the person you want to launch out of that? I mean, every faction, like what we're seeing with Seth Rollins right now. Obviously, the plan is to launch Braun Breaker and maybe Bronson Reed, but definitely Braun Breaker. No, I don't. I do need to go to one of these days. Go to Mania. But it's like, okay, so if you do a faction for Ricochet, what's the goal? And is Ricochet big enough to give somebody the rub yet? Or do you still need to build Ricochet to, a title, world title, international, TNT, whatever. But you need to build Ricochet up for something. International. It is feasible. I'm talking about Ricochet's faction could own the international belt. That's easy to imagine. I could see, with a little luck, little timing, and continued good work, I could see Ricochet going to world title. I could see it, but maybe. Brothers of Shine. That's funny. I don't know. Anything exciting? Could be maybe Ricochet isn't a faction guy. That could be true too. Ricochet should have. If I need something, I don't know why. Oops. Keep looking. I'm doing okay. Where is it? People keep talking, which is good. I think it'd be a poor man's X Factor. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Ricochet on his own is doing okay. But he could have like at least like one grunt or something. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. I'm getting hungry. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, be sure to tell everybody if you want to help me get the word out, so I can maybe more people to listen. Maybe. I don't watch TNA regularly now. I just keep an eye on it. Roosh, I've never seen a wrestler in the modern era have such contempt for his opponents like Roosh. And I don't know. It's like in the old days, like say in the days of Georgia Championship Wrestling or something, having that Ole Anderson disdain for opponents would get over great. But maybe it's just hard to get across in a bigger environment. Roosh also, dude has been around a while. He should have, in my opinion, a few more English phrases down. That would probably help. But I love that gear when he comes into the ring with the horns and everything. That's funny. What do I think of Wang Chung? Hang on. I have seen them they were on the last 80s cruise I was on. One of the guys I was with, he loved it. He thought they were great. I was fascinated because their hits, Everybody Have Fun Tonight, Live and Die in LA. What's the other one? Dance All Days. All their hits sound nothing like the rest of their music. The rest of their music is very alternative sounding. Not a lot of hooks, not particularly catchy. It's not bad music. It's just, I would have expected, more songs that are tight and bright or just, catchy. And they're not. So I think they're great musicians, but I was just kind of surprised how the rest of their catalog doesn't match the songs they're most famous for. They did a good Q&A. That was interesting. NASA has put some of their songs up into space, so that's kind of funny. Yeah. Oh, please. CMLL vs. AEW, WWE, AAA, which will be the better show? Look, I think Worlds Collide will be a fine show. But I think the CMLL versus AEW will be better. And here's why. Sold out Arena Mexico. Arguably the most raucous arena in the world. It is so, look, I've said this a million times till I'm blue in the face. If you're a wrestling fan and you have the means, go to Arena Mexico. Go see a show. It's incredible. Like nothing else. Go, please go. You owe it to yourself. I think it's better than even going to Japan. So that's my advice. But, Worlds Collide, it's going to be an afternoon show. It's going to be before Money in the Bank. And look, unfortunately, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about on the show, but I didn't get around to it. Unfortunately, people don't see NXT as a big deal. And look, NXT is a very good show. Okay? No disrespect to NXT. It's a very good show. And I think the booking and the creation of people is a big feather in the cap of Shawn Michaels. But, the houses have not been good for NXT. And no one talks about that, how they have gone to smaller arenas. Funny how that hasn't happened. But look, a lot of it is brands. People want the big brand. They want the top of the line. But I think that there's not going to be that many people there. And I'm sure the fans will be there, will enjoy it. I'm sure it'll be a very good show. But I don't think that it's going to have the energy that CMLL and AEW will have. And I think AEW is going to pull out all the stops. And WWE's philosophy these days, for better or worse, is not pulling out the stops. And look, I'm sure Chad Gable and Vikingo will have a great match. I'm sure the 4-way will be great. And the 6-man. And all, I think it's going to be great. But I don't know how educated WWE fans are on this. That's why I think the CMLL AEW show will be better. But I don't think Worlds Collide is going to be a bad show. But I'm much more interested in that than Money in the Bank. Somebody asked about Triple H and the Money in the Bank. Yeah, that's interesting. It can be a very dangerous match. But I don't know. What other promotions do I watch? Obviously, I follow New Japan. I follow some Noah, Small Japan, Stardom. Don't really watch Marigold anymore. What was I going to say today? I didn't write notes today. I kind of winged it today. Yeah, they're running through a lot of stuff. Oh. Yeah, I don't know how many times I have argued with dumb people, fed-pilled people who always say AEW isn't competition. And just because things may not be particularly close or whatever they are, I know that Dave has talked about the Raw numbers. I mentioned it last week. Anyway, obviously, when it comes to selling tickets, things like that, WWE's way ahead, Dave. I think speculates like 2.5 times more popular than AEW. Fair enough. But you tell these people that WWE is counter programming. They're like, no, it's not competition. I'm like, yes, it is. Anything out there in the sphere to take away WWE's monopoly, they view it as competition. And Triple H knows, and Vince knew, that you open up the door a crack, and there's always a puncher's chance, or there's always a chance you catch lightning in a bottle, and WWE loses its advantage. And not only is it business, it's also psychological. And doing Evolution up against All In, it's a WWE has nothing to lose. If they win, great. If they lose, oh, it was the women's pay-per-view. And it wasn't, actually all of WWE. And I'm not saying I feel that way. I'm saying that's what you can say. That's the excuse you can make. Oh, Evolution never does very well. It's no big deal. So that's what they've got, an easy out. And if they win, oh, the girls beat AEW. You can say that, And again, that's not my opinion. It's not me saying that. But that's what they've got nothing to lose by putting Evolution in. And also, the Great American Bash. Nice Texas font. Nice same font. It's the same thing. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, one thing I don't understand is like AEW puts on great shows, and I don't understand why tickets aren't selling better, but it is what it is. Also, would people effing stop with the AEW pay-per-views are too long? You pay $50, $60. I have to check my cable bill, whatever it is now. With taxes and fees, whatever. But they're giving you your money's worth. I asked my nephew, my niece's husband. He went to a Double or Nothing in Phoenix, and I was like, dude, did you think it was too long? And he goes, no. I thought it was, actually, I wonder, hang on a second. Let me see something here. See what I can do here. Hang on. Hey. Let's see here. Hang on. Hey. All right. Anyway, I asked him, did you think it was too long? He goes, no. We had a great time. And he's more of a WWE guy. But I told him, he's like, dude, you need to go. And he was like, he went and he was like, this is next level. And he had the best time. And it's so funny to me. Yeah, no kidding. It's so funny to me how people just buy whatever WWE is giving you. And that's the standard. 4 matches, perfect. 5 matches, tons of video packages. All that stuff. These people are giving you all kinds of extra content, working their butts off. And people are saying, oh, it's too long. It's too much. Show was amazing. I don't know. I don't understand what's with these fed-pilled people that, like, they don't see how WWE is giving you less. But whatever. People in the chat talking about Best of the Super Juniors final tomorrow. Fujita and Yo, sorry. I don't know. If I were to guess, I would think Fujita. He's young. They need a new star. And I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. That's my thought. Someone asked if I read Scott Norton's book. I did not read Scott Norton's book, but if you go back in the archives, Portland WrestleCast, I interviewed Scott Norton about his time in Portland. So you can go back and listen to that. It's interesting. You know, when Scott Norton came to Portland, he primarily wore like jeans, like baggy 90s jeans, and like a blue tank top. And he had like a backwards hat. And he was Crusher Scott Norton, probably because Sandy Barr thought he looked like the Crusher from the AWA. But he looked, I thought, so much cooler wearing that stuff than he did with his gear. But he still looked great. But, you know, he had that huge chest. And, you know, the early 90s, it's all about the arms and the upper body. And I thought, this guy's going to be a major star. And certainly, he, you know, he's an IWGP champion. And as he says, when I interviewed him, you know, that's a big belt. And it is. But I think part of the problem is he did sort of dress like Poochie. He did kind of dress like Poochie. He had a catchphrase too. It was, I'm going to put you down hard, fast, and mean. And I was like, why didn't he use that catchphrase? That's a great catchphrase. He should have kept that catchphrase. Hard, fast, and mean. Come on. Dude. That's a great catchphrase. Julia should use that. That's a great catchphrase. Anyway, go to the Portland WrestleCast. There's a lot of great. Look, I'm very proud of the Portland WrestleCast. There's a lot of good stuff, and you don't need to know anything about Portland. I laid out the whole thing for you. I lay out what's going on TV. Then we go to the interview, talk to someone who was there, certain time period, and they talk about behind the scenes. Mike Masters, who was on Dark Side of the Ring before he passed away. The reason he's on Dark Side of the Ring is because the producers heard him on the Portland WrestleCast. A lot of people were like, Mike Masters, he wasn't in Portland very long. Everybody wasn't in Portland very long, but he had some good stories. So I was happy for him that he got to be on TV one last time. He's a good guy. Scott Flash Norton, yes. It's Crusher Norton, but yeah, that's funny. He was dressed like Poochie, when I think about it. He did not go back to his home planet, however. So funny. So funny. Yes, Crusher that made Milwaukee famous, yeah. Sandy Barr was very much still in the past. There was another wrestler he thought looked like the Bruiser, so he called him Bruiser Bryan. Really nice guy. He died, God, like 20 years ago. And he and I were like the same age. So that really like freaked me out. But he was a nice guy. Brian Cox, good guy. Anyway, enough of Portland. There you go. Anything else we should talk about? Anything else? Oh, I like A&W root beer. But Mug's fine too. Mug is fine. So there we go. Someone wants to know. The early Manias, did I watch them live or on closed circuit? So I grew up in a small town that was halfway between Seattle and Portland. Like literally like Seattle, 90 miles north. Portland, 90 miles south. And so because it was only like, how big? I don't know, like 15,000 people, maybe 20, something like that. The metro was like 30,000, so not very big. We did not hang on, sorry. Anyway, I didn't have pay-per-view capability, so I had to watch WrestleMania on video cassette. So the first WrestleMania I saw live, I drove to Tacoma and saw WrestleMania 3 because it was such a big deal. We had plans. The family was doing something for WrestleMania 1, so I didn't see that. I thought WrestleMania 2 was terrible, did not care. And so 3, I saw live, and 6, I saw live in Seattle on closed circuit. So those are the 2 I saw live. And then the first one that I was able to get on pay-per-view was it 15? 14, which is where Austin won the title in 1998. Whichever one that is. Is that 14? Maybe it's 14. Anyway, I got that one on pay-per-view because I had moved to Spokane, Washington. And that was a big city. And you can get pay-per-views. And I ordered too many pay-per-views, but it was so much fun. So I loved it. I even made the mistake one time I ordered Rock Bottom. What a terrible show. I even knew it was a bad show. But I was jonesing for wrestling. I should not have got that one. I did get Hell in a Cell where Mick Foley went off the top. I saw that live on pay-per-view, and that was pretty freaky. Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, you were at Rock Bottom, Dale? Yeah, that was just kind of a B pay-per-view. Definitely. I mean, that was a pretty low point for that wasn't a great show, but it was what it was. Is Wind Waker my favorite Zelda? It's up there. I mean, obviously, I think Breath of the Wild was great. I think the one on the 64 is great. I don't care for Majora's Mask. What else? The ones on the Switch, or not the Switch, on the DS. Between Two Worlds, that's pretty fun. Yeah. So those are my favorite. Oh, and I like obviously I like the ones on the Wii. Those are pretty fun too. So yeah, I didn't think Rock Bottom was very good. I probably did buy no, I did not. Because that was a WWE one. I bought all the ECW ones. Link to the Past is a great one too. We got some more. Yeah, the Dark Side of the Ring, the Muhammad Hassan episode was interesting. There were a couple of things I did not know, but I thought that was an interesting episode. My wife liked it because it was had a happy ending. It wasn't death or anything like that. But it's just fascinating. My wife looked at me as we're watching it because they mentioned Wrestler's Court. And she looked at me, she goes, "Is that a thing?" And I go, "You didn't know about that?" And apparently I never mentioned it. She was like, she couldn't believe that. So, very funny. Anyway. Hang on a second. Anyway. Yeah, the Muhammad Hassan was good. Link's Awakening. I didn't discover that one until it came out on the Switch, and I wish I would have. I guess I missed that one. That's pretty fun. Oh, you know the one I don't like is the current one on the Switch because it's an RPG. I hate it. Pissed me off. I don't like that one. It's like, just give me Link. Give me an invention. Give me an adventure game. Legend of Zelda is an adventure game. It is not an RPG. I love Tears of the Kingdom. It's just kind of the same as far as, Breath of the Wild. I like RPGs, but Zelda's not an RPG. Zelda's an adventure game. Keep my RPGs out of my adventure games. Damn it. Damn it. Okay, no worries. No worries. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, yes. And I wanted to like it. I was very excited. Very excited for it, but oh well, it is what it is. Anyway, Fujito needs to win Best of Super Juniors. Yeah, probably. I think they need to create a new star. So there we go. Anyway, kids, well, I should probably get this done and get to editing my. I never played the CDI game, but I'm aware of it. I'm fine playing as Zelda. I'm all in favor of that. It's the gameplay that I have a problem with. So, yeah. So, I don't think I've ever gotten into Final Fantasy. I should do that. But anyway. All right, kids. Well, look, hey, if you want to help promote this show, I certainly would appreciate it. But you don't have to. Have a yeah. Anyway, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next weekend. I am gone over my birthday, so I'm not here. The hell is it? I am not here June 14th, because my birthday is the 16th. So I'm going to be gone June 14th and the 21st. So I'm gone 2 weekends in June. So we'll see what I can do. Anyway, have a great time, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, man. See you.